Hi everyone, welcome to Eat Something with Dee. Today's recipe is a staple dish from the Irani Cafes back home in Bombay. And Irani Cafes are really famous in Bombay. They're just these lovely, charming, old world cafes that are usually run by a nice Parsi or Irani family. And they all have these wonderful, hearty, homemade dishes. So I'm going to be making you one of those today. It's called Kheema Pao. Now, keema directly translates into mincemeat or ground meat. We're going to be using chicken today. And pao is just bread or buns. It's a really simple recipe. It comes together really easily. So I'm going to show you our ingredients and we're going to get started right away making keema pao. I'm really excited. Okay, let's go. We are getting right into our ingredients today, wasting no time. Here we go. Let me get my wire out of the way there. Can you see my ingredients? Are we good? Yes, perfect. Whoop! And almost perfect. There we go. We got all our ingredients in the frame. Perfect. So let's start right away with the meat we're going to be using. I'm using ground chicken. There's no pretty way of presenting ground chicken. That's what it looks like when it's raw. I have about 450 grams of ground chicken. It's one package. I just use it by the package. I've got about, what have I got here? I've got a cup of ground up onions. You can cut them really fine and you're okay. I like to puree them down like this. So a cup of ground up red onion. Then I've got half a cup of tomato. Again, I ground it up in my little chopper. You can just cut it fine if you don't have a chopper, that's okay. And over here, we've got half a cup of green peas. Now, I know peas are contentious and a lot of people don't like them, but these are teeny petite peas. I use frozen ones. They are actually slightly sweeter than regular peas and really, really delicious. They pop in your mouth. I absolutely love them. So little petite peas over there, half a cup. And then we're going to come to our spices. So I've got turmeric here. We're going to use about 1 teaspoon of turmeric. We're going to use 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of red chili powder. And we're going to use 2 tablespoons of coriander powder and then 2 teaspoons of garam masala. Now, I've explained before what garam masala is. It's a mixture of all these wonderful warm spices like cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, all of that yummy stuff. And it's a very typical Indian spice that you get in your grocery stores. Then we're going to come over here. This is about 1.5 tablespoons of tomato paste. Just comes in a can. I like it because it really adds a little bit of flavor and color into the dish. So I love using tomato paste to thicken up a gravy anytime I need a thick gravy. So about 1.5 tablespoons of tomato paste. Then we come to this line. I've just got 1 green chili that I've split down the middle there, just for color and a little bit of flavor. We've got 2 teaspoons of ginger garlic paste. I don't know why it turned green, but this is fresh that I made at home, and for some reason it's green. Still smells delicious. Ginger garlic paste, 2 tablespoons of oil just for cooking. You can use canola oil, olive oil, whatever takes your fancy. And then just salt to taste. And that's all there really is in this dish. Of course, I've always got my hot water here. I don't know if you can see. There you go. I always keep hot water by my side just in case I need to loosen stuff up or, you know, you need water for cooking. So we're going to move over to my stove here where I've had my onions cooking and browning for a little bit. Let me take you over to my stove. Hello. Let's come over here. I think you've got a pretty decent angle on the stove. Maybe we'll just bring you down just a titch. Just a titch. Yeah, you can see. Perfect. So I've had my onions browning here for a little bit. Basically threw my oil in there, threw my onions in there, and just reduced them and browned them down so that they're already cooked all the way through. And then throwing in my ginger garlic paste now. That's 2 teaspoons of ginger garlic paste. Beautiful. Just mix that in there. Quick and easy. And then for this recipe, what I like to do is throw in my tomato paste at this point because I want it to cook down with the onions. I don't want it to be separate from the spices because usually I put tomato in sort of after I've done my spices and my onions. I want it all cooked in together right now. So I'm going to throw in my tomato paste. There we go. Beauty. Come on out, come on out. Good stuff. Okay. Tomato paste already in there. Just gonna mix it about. Beauty. And you can see that it takes on a little bit of that lovely pink color. And we get straight into our spices. I always start with turmeric. Don't ask me why. 1 teaspoon of turmeric right in there. And then we're gonna do 1.5 teaspoons of red chili powder. Now this stuff is really potent, as I've always said, and if you can't handle a lot of chili powder, just put a titch in just for a little bit of flavor. You'll thank me later. And we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of coriander powder. So, nice big heaping tablespoons of coriander powder right in there. You with me, you guys? All right. And then we're just going to, as I always say, cook down our spices. I've said this a number of times, but for anybody that's joining me right now or is new to Eat Something with Dee, you gotta cook down your spices. A lot of people say they can't handle spices or they can't, it doesn't agree with their tummies. But a lot of the times it's just because the spices haven't been cooked down nicely. They have to break down, they have to really cook up because otherwise you're eating raw spices, and raw spices, your tummy's not gonna like raw spices no matter what. So you wanna cook them down, you wanna leave them on the flame for a little while. Make sure that they're really getting into your onions and your tomatoes. And give them a little love, just let them sit there, let them infuse their wonderful flavor and aromas into your tomatoes and your onions. And then at this point, really, you're already ready to throw in your chicken. Now, I know there's one spice I haven't put in yet. We're going to do that later. First, we're going to throw in our ground up chicken. Now, just lump it all in there. Yep. Ooh, got a little bit left. In it goes. And then this takes a little bit of muscle strength. So don't be afraid to just get in there and squish it about. Stay with me now. It's going to be really squishy right now, but once it starts cooking, the meat will sort of separate into its own little granules, and it'll be more like, the ground meat that you're used to seeing, maybe like for tacos or something like that. It will eventually start to look like that. For now, though, just really get in there, squish it about, get your tomatoes and onions and all your spices into your chicken. Don't be afraid, you're not going to hurt it. Just go at it. Yeah. You see that? Get in her. There we go. Get in there. Oh, my arm is hurting. It really does take a little bit. Just make sure that it's all in there. Yes. Nice. Okay, you got all your spices in there. You got all your meat in there. Just want to toss it around a little bit. Get it cooking. Get the cooking process with the chicken started. I know that's just a whole ton of mixing going on. And then we're going to move over and put in the rest of our spices and our salt. I tend to forget salt a lot, so always remember salt to taste. Okay, come back here. See you guys. You good? Okay. Now we're going to do our 2 teaspoons of garam masala. 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, beautiful. And then for me, about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I tend to over salt my things just because that's my taste palette. I feel like I burned off a lot of taste buds eating spicy food, so I need a little more salt in my food. And then, there you go. That's already smelling so delicious. Yum, yum, yum. All right. Mix your spices in there. Got it all going. And really, this is it. This is your base for your keema that you're going to eat with pao or bread. I'm going to let it cook for a little bit with just a little bit of water. I want to say just about 2 to 3 tablespoons of water because the chicken itself releases a lot of water. So you don't want to throw too much in there. At this point, I like to throw my chili in there just because it's nice and fresh and gives a little bit of a kick to it. And at this point, you're already halfway there, more than halfway there, really. You just want to cover it off and let it simmer for a bit. And like I said, you don't need to put too much water into keema. The chicken itself has a fair bit of water and it's going to release it and get really watery and really mushy, and you don't want that. You do want the chicken to separate into its own little granules, and you want to have that nice texture and nice flavor in there. So now we've covered it off and we're gonna leave it for a while, but because I am an expert at pre-preparation and I've watched too many cooking shows in my life, I have a version already prepared for you, and I'm gonna bring it over just as soon as I move this one to my back burner and bring you, ta-da! So once the chicken has cooked down from, whoops, just like chucking stuff around, from what I just showed you, it'll cook down into this kind of granulated mincemeat, which is really, really delicious and really amazing. And now at this point, it doesn't look like it's the prettiest thing in the world, but trust me, it tastes amazing. And now what I like to do is add my tomato paste because it gives it that nice hit of color. So that's about 1.5 tablespoons of just good old canned tomato paste. Make sure I get it all in there. Tap, tap, tap. And then a little bit of water to get it going. Again, not too much because I don't want it super mushy or anything. I just want to get my tomato flavor in there. Beauty. I'm very careful in terms of how much water I put in this. I don't want to dilute the flavors too much and then have to dry up the water. I don't want to be overcooking it too much. The chicken will get rubbery. And as it is, you know, mincemeat, it's not like it keeps any sort of juiciness or any sort of bite. So you don't want to overcook it either. Beautiful, beautiful. Just give it a good stir. Got the tomato paste in there. And now we're going to just throw in our lovely petite peas for a hit of flavor and color and fun. Wee. Oh, what leftovers? Beautiful. Got my peas in there. You know, there's some vegetables in there. This is already smelling so amazing. Okay, now we put in frozen peas, so you do have to let them cook for a little bit. We're not quite done yet. Let me throw in just a little bit more water. Again, just titches, always titches of water, 2-3 tablespoons at a time, not too much. And then, because my chicken is already cooked, everything is already cooked, I just want my peas to get a little bit mushy and get some flavor in them and cook up. I'm going to cover it off and then I'm gonna talk to you guys for a little bit. Now, keema is one of those things that's really versatile. You can eat it with rice. You can throw it on top of pasta if you want. I've actually tried it with spaghetti and it's pretty good. It's like a weird Indian version of like a thick bolognese sauce almost. So you can do it on that. You can do it with just good old bread. You can do it with naan. It's a really versatile thing. It's just meat with flavor. And it sort of goes down really easy. It's really easy to cook up. And it's really one of my favorite ways of making minced chicken. Now, if you want to get adventurous, you can also put it in tacos or tortillas, roll it up in a roti, any which way you want to do it. You're getting some yummy meat and yummy spices into your gullet. So it's really a win-win all around. There's really no wrong way of doing keema. Just make sure that it's all cooked. Oh, my peas have actually cooked up really quick. Oh, that's perfect. All right. Well, it looks like my peas are already at squishing consistency. Oh, love it. Okay. So that actually cooked up even quicker than I had expected. I think because I kept my peas out a little bit and they were kind of thawed down a little bit. So we are already good to go. I love it. Okay. Like I said, we need 4D. We need smell-o-vision. So you can smell how delicious and tasty this is. So like I said, we're already ready to go. We're gonna come over and plate. And I'm gonna show you 2 ways of doing this actually. One of the ways is that you can just serve it up with some bread and call it a day. So, hi, let me bring you over. I've got my little pot, can you see? Okay, perfect. Got my little pot over here. Got my keema done already. Gonna bring it over. And we're just gonna serve it up like this. Beauty. And I like little mini brioche buns. I just discovered these at the supermarket. So you can do with a little mini brioche bun. And what we in the Parsi community, we call this sali. I guess you guys just call it potato sticks. Just a little bit of crunchy on top. Delicious. So you can literally just dunk your little brioche bun in here and call it a meal. And that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is what I like to call my version of sloppy joes. So I call them sloppy Dees, obviously. And let me show you how to do that. So instead of just serving with your brioche bun like this, let me straighten you out a little bit here. Whoop. Instead of doing this, what I like to do is butter up some mini brioche buns. You got it? You see it? Okay. And pile on just a titch of my keema, almost like sliders. Titch of my keema over here. Ooh, lost a pea. Like that. And then add some sali or potato sticks for crunch. Just like that. Ooh, do my pea. There we go. And oh, this one is the opposite way, but hang on. This is what happens when you're live. And then top that one off. And then you've got these little mini keema sliders, which are amazing. And they've got that crunchy sali in there. So really, really delicious. And this is how I like to eat my Kheema Pao. I put my keema in my pao. So let me just bring the other one over. Give you some nice last looks. Oh, my Kheema Pao here. Actually, I'm gonna do this so that you can see it all together. Beauty. That's what we call efficiency. So you got your keema here, you got your pao here, you got your keema in your pao here, and that's how it's done. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna move my camera up so I can say one last goodbye to you guys. Yay! Okay, hang on. Camera. Okay. And that's really it. So, Kheema Pao, have it just straight. Keema and pao, put your keema in your pao, however you like it. But make sure when you're serving them, make sure to call them sloppy Dees. They're not sloppy joes, they're sloppy Dees because they're my version of sloppy joes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you really enjoyed this recipe. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Let me know if you make it. I want to see pictures. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye.